Yeah, it should be live now. So today's character is going to be Isabelle, and I guess we can go ahead and get started. So I've played around a lot with Isabelle because she's a character that I didn't really know that much about until like yesterday and today whenever I was practicing with her, so know a bit more about her than some of the other guides, I think. Um, but yeah, let's go ahead and get into this one. So ground speed is pretty slow, rank number 70 on just your dash speed. So it's pretty difficult to maintain stage control, which is something that I really like to try to achieve as Isabelle. Like, I try to plant Blade Rocket about here, and then you have the fishing rod as well that you can extend to, let's see, move Falcon out of the way here, to about there. So that's pretty much all of the area where your opponent can't really stand, and then Isabelle's behind the Lloyd Rocket, so that means that they have to approach Isabelle from behind, which they do have a lot of room to do that, but then she can just cover that option. So that's kind of what I try to do, is just make it where, okay, you can't be here, you can't be where the fishing rod is either, so that means you have a few options, but then you can still cover them out of the fishing rod pretty quickly. So it's kind of my general game plan, but I'll go over that more towards the end of this. Jump height's really good actually on the first jump. Like, I didn't really know how good it was whenever I had like started to make the guide for today, but even like your short hop is pretty decent as well. Like, goes to about Captain Falcon's head, as you can see here. And then your full hop height is pretty good as well. But yeah, that just allows you to have a pretty insane recovery when combined with your up special, because your up special travels really far, although it does have the little recharge effect like Villagers and Olimar's does, where once you use it once, then you get until the balloons pop, and then you can use it again with one balloon, and then it just not travel that far after that. But on the first up special with 2 balloons, it travels pretty much anywhere on the map, and you can make it, or you can recover from pretty much anywhere. You also have slide special to recover with as well, because it is a tether, and slide special can also be used to kill opponents off stage when edge guarding. Or not when edge guarding, but whenever they're edge guarding you, you can hit them with a slide special and then throw them into the stage, and if they tag it, they live. And if they don't tag it, then most of the time it can either be followed up with like a down air or some kind of a hitbox from Isabelle, and then she can still recover, or it can just be enough to kill opponents with the stage bite. So either option will work in that scenario. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into moveset. So for dash attack, it has a lot of range because you do throw that pot in front of you, but it's really not that great of a move. Like on the initial hit, where you're right next to your opponent and then you hit the A button, it's decent. I kind of like the fact that the pot can actually still hit opponents until it shatters, but it's not that useful in like single matches because the pot doesn't really travel that far. Like, it travels a decent distance, but it's not anything too special. Like, here, let me try to show it over here. You can see it'll travel somewhere, but I think it kind of goes a bit too far off screen. So let me try here. Oh, it just goes all the way to the blast zone, so yeah, it does travel a bit far off screen. So yeah, that can be decent at edge guarding, but the angle of it's really difficult to edge guard with. And you've got much better edge guarding options like down special and slide special, rather than having to commit to a dash attack, because that just means that you can, or if your opponent does recover, then they can punish you sometimes, and then if they can't punish you, then they can still get back to stage. So you kind of failed at the whole edge guarding thing. But it actually doesn't have that much lag, so it's not too bad of a move to just throw out whenever you're trying to approach someone. But Isabelle has decent approach from the air with forward air and back air, and a few other moves like that, so there's better options than dash attack, but dash attack's definitely not a bad one for that. With jab, very weak jab, but it's like Pikachu jab, so you can kind of just hit people with it as much as you want, and it will have the same amount of knockback. It does the same animation. It can hit twice in a jab lock and still be okay. It can also infinite, I think, still. I'm not really sure if it can still, but I know it used to be able to. Or not really infinite, but true combo into itself. And then you could follow it up with something at higher percent to kill. But I'm not really sure if that's still in the game. I didn't know the timing originally, and I don't really know the timing now, so I have no idea if it still works, but, the jab itself is not going to be able to kill because it doesn't really have any knockback. Like, here, let me show you. That's at 999%. Like, it's just not powerful enough to kill unless you're on a walk-off stage, in which case it can kill, but that's at 999%. It has about the same knockback as, like, fully charged forward smash at 900, or at 0%. Or, not the same, but you kind of get the idea. It's just not as powerful as a jab as most other character jabs. Pikachu has the same problem, and so does Pichu, and I didn't mention that with them. But with Isabelle, your jab does have a bit more range in them, so that does give you a bit of an advantage over them. Although it is kind of slower because of this. It's still pretty quick, like it can still true combo into itself, but it's not fast enough to be able to hit a lot and then you run back and be able to escape sometimes, because certain characters can just outrun your running speed, whereas with Pikachu and Pichu, they're kind of fast enough to be able to escape. Isabelle's 70, or is ranked 70 in running speed, so you won't be able to travel that far away from certain opponents like Captain Falcon, for example, who's ranked second. But it kind of just depends on the matchup there. With your tilts, you've got up tilt, which is probably one of your best tilts. True combos into itself at lower and mid percents, at higher percents, or kind of at higher mid percents, I would say. It starts with true combo into up air, and that's when you start building up a lot of damage, because up air is pretty strong. And then let me go ahead and turn on this. I meant to turn this on at the beginning, but I forgot. But up tilt at 0% not able to true combo into itself. At about 30% it will start true comboing into itself, 30 to 20. And then after it stops true comboing into itself, or I guess it still kind of can, but you kind of are not true, but it can still combo into itself. It will start comboing into up air, and it can actually be used to kill on platform stages pretty easily, but on Final Destination not as much, because your opponent gets knocked too high before it can kill, although you can still use it to line up pretty much any aerial in the game for Isabelle. Or not any Isabelle, or not any aerial in the game, but any aerial for Isabelle. Like, you can line up a down air with it, you can line up a up air, or a neutral air, pretty much anything. And then you've got down tilt, which is kind of the same thing. Like, down tilt kind of just can combo into an up tilt, which can then start an aerial juggle and things like that. But with down tilt, it's kind of strange. Like, it works the same way as Villagers, where it's really fast, but it has like this really small hitbox where you kind of just pull people out of the ground. And then it can cause a tumble effect at pretty low percents, and it doesn't really send that far, so you can use it to get grabs and things like, or not grabs, but jab locks, and then at 0% it can lead into a grab pretty easily, if you read your opponent's EI, I guess. And then you can get a down throw fair out of it, or a down throw back air. With your forward tilt, because that's the last one I couldn't think of the name, but forward tilt, you just have this little umbrella that goes out in front of you. It's pretty strong. It's about as strong as like your down smash and up smash, so it will kill at about the same percentages. Like, let's see, so 110 for forward tilt, I think. No, it's 120. Okay. And that's the same percent for up smash and down smash to kill on Final Destination, at least. And that's the front hit of down smash, because the back hit of down smash is much weaker. But yeah, as you can see, forward tilt, it's very fast and it has a lot of range, which is really good, because a lot of Isabelle's kill moves don't really have that much range, or they're too slow, or things like that, or not really too slow, but like, they either don't have that much range and can kill, and then some of them have a bit of range and can't kill. Like with up tilt, for example, it has a lot of range, but it doesn't really lead into any kills unless you're on a platform stage. Down tilt doesn't have that much range, but it can lead into some aerials. Forward tilt has decent range and decent kill power, so it's kind of like a mix of both. So it's a really strong tilt for Isabelle, at least. And then you've got your smash attacks, which up smash, it's pretty good out of shield because of how fast it is, but the thing is, it just doesn't really cover that much range. Like, it covers a decent amount of vertical range, but it doesn't really cover that much. Like, it barely goes over Isabelle's head, doesn't protect Isabelle at all from the back, like a lot of up smashes do. Um, it just has the active hitbox directly in front of Isabelle. Like, Isabelle's body is not a hitbox during the up smash, only the little signpost. So that's just how much range it has. It's basically, if the signpost were where Isabelle's character was, it would be much better than what it is. But it's still not that bad of a move, because of how fast it is. And, like, it's very hard to punish and things like that, because you can just kind of throw out an up smash, and then if people get hit by it, then you kind of can run away from them and retreat, or you can kind of advance if you're trying to get an edge guard for a kill, and you're in advantage. But if you're in disadvantage, you can just use up smash to kind of retreat if you can't land forward air or back air on someone. But the kill power is pretty weak, and it also doesn't really combo out of anything. Like, you could potentially do something like this, but that's not true at all, so it's not a very consistent way to combo, but it's kind of just a string. But yeah, it's still a pretty weak smash tag. Like, it does decent percent, kills at about 120, and then on platform stages, obviously it will kill at much higher percentage, or much lower percentages on the top platform. But as you can see, like, once it's become stale, then it's just not that strong at all. Like, it's not even getting close to top blast zone there. With down smash, it covers a decent amount of range around Isabelle. It doesn't really cover too much vertically, but horizontally it covers the most amount of range as any of your smash tags. And then up smash covers the most vertical range. Forward smash kind of a mix of both, although it still really doesn't have that much range. With down smash though, it's very fast, so it kind of makes up for its lack of vertical range with speed, so you can kind of just run up and down smash people sometimes, and then higher percents that could get you a kill. Although it's still not safe to throw it, because it is a smash tag. Same thing with up smash. Like, you can run around and you can hit people with smash tags, but it's not too safe against life shields and parries, because if Isabelle gets punished at all, her recovery's not bad, but it's really exploitable. So a lot of characters can just take her off stage and then either edgeguard her pretty easily, or they can just get in a lot of damage for free, pretty much. So you don't really want to throw out smash tags, but if your opponent's not playing too defensively and they're playing aggressively, then you can definitely catch them off guard with a down smash or up smash. With forward smash, it's mainly just for reads, because it does have a bit of a startup. But if your opponent, like, if you run up and forward smash someone, then 9 times out of 10 they will be able to shield it, because it's really easy to read because of the startup, and or not read, but to like react to because of the startup. And then even if they don't react to it, it has very little range. Like, yeah, that's going to be the hitbox there, about where the flower is back there. So let me try back here. Yeah, it's still barely hitting Falcon, but the thing about forward smash is it does the most damage and knockback out of any of your smash tags, so it's the best one for killing. It's just not the safest one to throw out. Kind of like with most characters. Like, most characters with forward smash, it's going to be their best smash tag in terms of just kill power, but it's going to be really hard for them to land without getting punished, because they kind of have to set up for it, or like wait for their opponent to react and then read them. But with Isabelle, it's mainly just reading. You can't really make your opponent, like, you can't really set up for any of your attacks with Isabelle, whereas with characters like, King K. Rool, you have a little crown that you can throw, and then whenever they get hit by the, return hit, then you can punish that with a smash attack or something like that. Then with, your aerials, so, you've got forward air and back air. They look very similar, but they have different damage outputs. Forward air is weaker, but it's kind of easier to hit because you can face your opponent, and most of the time you will be facing your opponent. The closer you are to your opponent, the more damage and knockback it will do as well. So, see there, it did 8.8. And then with back air, it's going to do, what, 11.3, so it does decent damage. Like, the back air is obviously going to be the best one because it does the most damage or knockback, but forward air is a bit easier to approach with because you don't have to turn around. But if you're good at doing like turnaround back airs, then obviously going for back air is going to be much better. But most of the time, like, I'm not that great at just running up to someone and then back airing them. Like, as you can see there, I tried to do it, but I ended up forward airing. So most of the time I just go for forward air, and it does about the same thing in on stage, but off stage back air is much better, and you can also do it from the ledge. If you're grabbing to the ledge, you can just do like that to back air someone, so it's really easy to do. And it also does decent amount of damage. The actual projectile itself doesn't really do that much. Like, it's kind of annoying to deal with, but if you just shield it, then there's not much Isabelle can do against you, because it doesn't have that much shield stun. If you do get hit by it, and you're pretty far away from Isabelle, like if you're about where Captain Falcon is, then it has pretty much 0 hit stun, so then you can just approach Isabelle. And then, even if you have like moves with super armors, then you can just approach Isabelle for free. If you have a reflector, then you can do that as well. So, it's kind of matchup dependent on whether you should use it a lot or not. I would say, like, if a character is fast, like Captain Falcon, I would use more, like, I would kind of set up some stage control with, like, down special, and then potentially side special, rather than trying to go for forward air and back air, although, if they're kind of just waiting for this to despawn, and sitting over there, then you can kind of just poke at them with forward air and back air. Although you do have to be careful, because back air does have a bit more landing lag than forward air, so if you do throw that one out a lot, then you could be punished because of the landing lag on it. And then you have neutral air, which is probably your best, like, out of shield area, because it kind of just hits opponents all around you. Although, if your opponent, like, if you know that your opponent's going to stay exactly where they are, then you can hit them with a forward air or back air depending on where they are. So, like, if this Falcon's trying to tomahawk grab me, then I can back air him. And then if he's in front of me, then I can just forward air. And that's probably better than going for neutral air, although neutral air will be able to get pretty consistent damage, because it doesn't really have, like, a weak hitbox unless you hit it after the startup. But if you just hit it on startup, which most of the time you will be able to do out of shield, then you should get about 10%. So it's about the same thing as throwing out a back air. It's much better for, like, the forward side of opponents, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because forward air doesn't do that much damage. Or it doesn't do, like, 10%, and that one does 10%. Whereas with back air, it does 11%, so it's a bit better if you can land a back air, but neutral air is just a bit safer. And the neutral air doesn't really have that much ending lag as well, so you can kind of use it to pressure opponents at the ledge. So if they're trying to recover, then you can just throw out a neutral air if you're not sure where they're going to go. And then if they run into the neutral air, they get put off stage again, and if they run in, or if they don't run into it and they're on stage, then you should be able to follow them, because Isabelle actually has decent airspeed. So you can kind of just run around with neutral air, and then if they land next to you at all, then they get hit, and then if they don't land next to you, it has still a little landing lag, like you can kind of just run up to them and then hit them on the move. So either way, it's kind of bad unless you go to ledge. With down air, it is a spike, but it's a pretty weak spike. Like, the hit itself is pretty weak in general. It does about 12.6%. But the thing about Isabelle's up air, down air compared to Villagers is that, Isabelle's has consistent damage, whereas with Villager, his is really inconsistent because you have the turnips. You have like 1 to 4 turnips, so you will do more damage with Villager if you do land the 4 turnips, but you'll do less damage in Isabelle if you do 1 turnip. With Isabelle, she just uses 2 turnips, so it's pretty weak, but it's not too bad. It can also trip, down air can, which can kind of lead into like a grab or anything like that. Up air can be hit on taller opponents pretty easily, but on shorter ones it's pretty difficult. Even taller ones it's kind of difficult, as you can see here. But a falling up air can lead into an up tilt into itself, or it can lead into like up air into itself as well. So it can be used for like a little bit of combos, but it's not anything too special. We'll kind of build up a bit of percent, but it's not going to kill or anything like that. But up air can be used in combos like up tilt to up air, like that, and then it can be used to kill off the top on certain stages, because for up tilt up air, that works for a very long time. So it will work at percents that would lead into a kill on Battlefield. Whereas on Final Destination, it just doesn't really get that much height to be able to kill truly, but it can, like, at 100%, for example, you can hit someone with an up tilt and then kind of double jump for an up air, and then potentially kill them off of that. Like that, kind of. And then kind of just read what they're doing. Although, if you do hit the weak hit, which, the weak hit is just if you land the, the lingering hitbox rather than the initial hitbox, and then it kind of combos a bit easier, but it's not as strong off the top, so I won't be able to kill. So you kind of want to make sure that your opponent's like directly above you as soon as you throw out the move, unless you're trying to combo. Like down here, I would do a sour spot on the up air, but if I'm trying to knock someone into the top Python, I would do the strong hit. And the sour hit also does less damage. And it's the same thing with down air. Down air has a similar hitbox to where if you hit the lingering hitbox, then it will be much weaker, like that. And it won't be able to spike. And then the sour spot that doesn't spike on down air does the same amount of damage as the one that does spike. And then we have specials. So you've got side special being the fishing rod. Apparently this got nerfed, but I really don't know too much about Isabelle's side special. If you hold it down, you'll do a hit that can kind of combo, but not really. Or hold on, let me try to do it here. I don't know why I'm not able to do it now. Yeah, there we go. As you can see, it kind of just bounces your opponent directly in front of you, so maybe you can follow it up with something. But it's really weird, basically. Like, it doesn't really combo into anything. It's kind of just there. I guess you could bounce people off the stage for like a DI mix-up out of the slide special, but really it's just there, as I said earlier. That's kind of the same thing with the back throw. Like, back throw can potentially be used to edge guard someone, and like lead into an edge guard like I tried to there. But the launch angle for it is really strange, so it can't really be used on stage that much. It can mainly just be used to edge guard people. Or, not edge guard, but a setup for an edge guard. With forward throw, though, that's going to be the kill throw of the slide special. Although you can also use up throw to kill, which that wasn't up throw, but up throw is going to be there. So as you can see, it just launches people directly upwards, and then with the forward throw, they launch in front of you, and it can be used to kill at about the same percentage your smash attacks at the ledge. But it does leave you open for attack if you do miss it, and then the actual like bobber of the fishing rod, which is the part that connects people, that part can be shielded, and if it is shielded, then it will be able to be punished by most opponents, unless Isabelle like pulls back the fishing rod as they're approaching, because they're approaching on the ground. If they approach in the air, though, then Isabelle is pretty much just going to get hit for throwing out slide special. It's a tether off stage, but then you can also use it to kind of just grab people off stage. Like, you can use the bobber to kind of hit people, because the bobber still has an active hitbox, even though it's just off stage like that. So you can kind of just catch people if they're trying to recover low against you. You can use it to catch people that are recovering high as well. And then you can also use it off stage to, as I said earlier, like drag people that are trying to recover to the stage and then slam them into the stage for a kill. Potentially off of that. But yeah, it's really good for getting stage control, because basically Captain Falcon cannot walk in between where the bobber is and where the line is. So, or not where the bobber is, but in the line, but between the bobber and the pole, so that's just where the line is. So basically all of that string that's in between Isabelle and Captain Falcon is territory that Isabelle basically controls on the ground, so that forces Falcon to have to approach from the air, or try to like run in and then shield, which that's also an option, but Isabelle can punish both of those options pretty easily and get a combo started. With your neutral special, you just got Pocket. You can pick up items off the ground with Pocket. I think I forgot to mention that with Villager, but really, it doesn't have that many uses against Captain Falcon, obviously, because Captain Falcon doesn't have any projectiles of his own, so I mean, you can use it to do things like that, but if you're playing just against a regular Captain Falcon, it does have frame 1 invincibility, so maybe, or not frame 1, but like invincibility in front of Isabelle while it's active, so maybe you can dodge certain moves. Like here, let me try to do it against the Falcon Punch. I don't know if I'll be able to. Yeah, like that. So you can just use it to dodge moves like that, potentially, but it would just depend on the timing of the moves and also the position of Isabelle, because it doesn't leave you fully invincible, just on the front. So where like the pocket is. But as you can see, like the top of your head, your ears, and your right foot, and that kind of area over there is completely unprotected. With your up special, I kind of already went over it, but it goes really high. If you pop the balloons and you kill Isabelle, the balloons kind of pop on their own as well. And then the more that you spam it, the shorter distance it will go. Isabelle does gain a bit of height from the balloon popping, and whenever it actually pops, she can still move around, so it makes it where pretty much she can recover for free unless she's already used the initial balloons. Like, if she's done something like this and then she tries to recover, then she can't really recover for free. But if she still has both her balloons, then pretty much it's a free recovery. Although she will still get hit by opponents because her airspeed is kind of slow. Like, with the balloons, it's a bit faster. But certain characters can still call out where you're going and then punish it. And then either edgeguard you or just damage you a lot. And you can be hit off stage pretty easily because your hitbox is much larger. Although if they do hit the balloons, then you take no damage, so that's kind of good because of that. Because the balloons actually have a pretty large hitbox. And then with down special, you have this little Lloyd rocket. You plant it in the ground, and then if you hit down special again, then you will be able to launch it up into the air. It's pretty much like a C4 from Snake, where if your opponent just walks onto it, then you can set it off, or like they jump above it, you can set it off. But with Isabelle's, it will set off automatically, so as long as your opponent is on the activation area, then it will be set off. So it's kind of just a trap, and it's actually pretty strong as well. So it'll kill opponents at like 120, I would think. Yeah, as you can see there, it didn't kill at 120, but it would be able to kill at a bit higher percentages, or at higher percentages. And then even when it can't kill, you can still follow it up with like a back air is what I did there. So after the initial hit, I hit Falcon with a back air, and it was enough of a percent to be able to kill Falcon off of that. So I could use it to just confirm a forward air, back air, neutral air, pretty much any of your aerials. Your opponents, I've seen it drop people a few times, but it's really rare that it happens, so it's not a bad hitbox that's like a multi-hit, because a lot of multi-hits in this game are pretty bad. A lot of them have been fixed, though. But, with Isabelle's down special, it's at least a bit more consistent than most. It's not anywhere near like Sonic's up air or up tilt, but it's about as consistent as like Bayonetta's up special and side special, basically, if you're wanting an idea of how consistent. It's about that same consistency, where most of the time it will work, but there's the really odd chance that it won't work. And then you're not in trouble if it doesn't work, though, because it doesn't really affect Isabelle at all if it doesn't work. Because Isabelle can kind of just stand there, because she doesn't have to activate it. And even if she does activate it, the activation animation thing doesn't really have that much inlag, so Isabelle can't really be punished for you escaping the hit. But it just means that you get to take less percent from it. And then Isabelle kind of just has to reset the Lloyd rocket at a different place. Because then Isabelle... I guess the bad part about it is that Isabelle can't respawn another Lloyd rocket while that one's in the process of exploding. You can see there. So if you do it too quick, then you get that animation. Because you can only have one Lloyd rocket on the stage at a time. And I kind of like Isabelle's down special a bit more than Villager's down special. The axe has its uses, but just for the tree itself, like, I guess it can kind of be used to stop a hit from an opponent. Like, you can kind of just hide behind the tree and then it will absorb a projectile that's really strong, like a Samus charge shot. But with Isabelle's, you can kind of use it for stage control, so I do like that a bit more than Villager's. Like, Villager can use it for stage control as well, but as long as the tree's there, all it does is just absorb hits, whereas with Isabelle's, it can absorb hits, or it can also do damage if your opponent gets a bit too close. Because if your opponent does hit it, it will create an explosion that can damage Isabelle, and it actually hurts her a lot, and it doesn't damage the opponent, but it's nowhere near enough to be able to kill at, like, really early kill percent for Isabelle. Like, if Isabelle's at 100%, she gets hit by an F smash, it's more likely to kill her than if she's at 100% and gets hit by down special. So, that's kind of what I meant by that. And then for throws, you've got just your pummel, I guess we'll go over that. It's pretty weak, but it can build up damage, I guess. And then you got up throw, mainly just use start juggles. Down throw combos into fair, pretty much 80%. Forward throw can be used to set up edge guards, and back throw can be used to kill. and that pretty much covers the throws. Like back throws, main kill throw, forward throw is, it has set knockback, so it can pretty much just be used for edge guard. And that's kind of the same thing with Isabelle's back throw with the fishing rod, is that it could be used for setting up edge guards. Or yeah, I guess I see the fishing rod nerf, because that used to actually be able to hit people, what I did there, whenever you pull it back, but it didn't grab Falcon, so let me actually try that again. Yeah, it's just gonna grab Falcon there, but just a second ago, he was like standing right next to Isabelle. Whenever I retracted the fishing rod, it didn't pick him up, and that used to happen, but I guess now it doesn't happen anymore. So that's kind of the problem with Isabelle as well, is that she's been nerfed in pretty much every patch. Don't really know why. She wasn't really that strong whenever the game first came out, and she keeps getting weaker because of the nerfs. I think that she's a pretty weak character, but she has done pretty well in tournaments, so I guess I don't really know that much about her like viability in tournaments, because I rarely use her, but I do know a bit of stuff from today, yesterday, and just like a bit of research I've been doing since Monday on or not Monday, but since like Saturday and Sunday on Isabelle, because I've been looking at stuff for her since then, because I wasn't sure of the quality of this guide in particular, because she's a character that I'm not that strong with, kind of like with Lucario, but hopefully I've done pretty well. Now I'll get to neutral, I guess, which is the thing that I usually do last. So Falcon's going to be able to approach Isabelle for pretty much free, even though like the aerials will be kind of decent at stopping Falcon, because his airspeed's not as fast as his ground speed, so he really wants to stay on the ground, and the aerials are pretty good at, like forward air and back air are really good for catching people on the ground, because you can do them at such a low hit in their projectile, so then you can kind of just control a bit of the stage while the projectile is still out there. Kind of like what I'm doing here, I'm kind of just retreating at the ledge and then just shooting the forward air and back air. And then if it lands on Falcon, then he gets hit, and he goes back a bit, and then if it doesn't land on Falcon, then he doesn't get hit. But yeah, I kind of called out his rule there with a grab. I'm gonna do a neutral air after landing with fair and it missing because he was throwing down smash. But yeah, I'm gonna throw out a fishing rod here to kind of force him, or not force him, but bait him to approach, and then didn't really work out too well for me. I'm not dead from it or anything, but I am getting hit a lot, so throw out an up tilt here. Got punished with a down tilt out of parry. But you can also see another problem with Isabelle, and that's the fact that I've hit Falcon more times than he's hit me, I believe. I've been keeping count of that correctly. And I've taken a lot more damage than he has. Because Isabelle's damage output with like forward air and back air are really low. And whenever they start to become stale, they get a lot lower. Like, it goes from like 10 or 11% to 8% to like 5% to, I think the minimum is like 2% on back air. And if you just keep using it, then you're only getting about 2% per hit. So you are still having a decent amount of knockback and damage, and it will still build up, but it's not going to be that great. And as you can see there, I used Fishing Rod to kind of throw Falcon out of the way. And then there it just didn't work for some reason, but I was able to tech that back air because it got extended by the balloons. Yeah, back throw here is going to kill. So, gonna try to plant a down special. Didn't really work out. Isabelle's pretty light, so you do have to be careful on how you recover. But as you can see there, he popped both of my balloons without hitting me, and that's kind of what you want to do, is you want to hit both of them without damaging Isabelle, because then her up special doesn't reset. And it will make it where Isabelle can't actually use up specials flight anymore, but she does gain a bit of height from it, and I was able to use that to still recover, although I wasn't alive for very long after that. Yeah, caught me with the forward tilt. Throwing a down smash here, and then go for an edge guard. Kind of worked, but if that wasn't Captain Falcon, then that wouldn't have killed, but because his recovery doesn't really gain him that much vertical distance, it will be enough to kill him there. But as you can see, that was an 80% spike, so it's just not that strong of a spike. Or it was a spike at 80%, not an 80% damage spike, is what I meant by that. I'm gonna recover low here. You pretty much want to recover low with Isabelle, because there's not really a point in recovering high. Recovering high just means that you're gonna get hit, but if you don't tech like that, then you will still die for recovering low. And then you can obviously still be, like, stomped and stuff by Captain Falcon for recovering low. As you can see, there were throughout a forward smash without really setting up for it and got punished. And then threw out one there as well, but he went on the other side of me. I figured that he was going to do that, but I wasn't really sure, because usually he'll mix it up, but at that time he didn't. And then I air dodged back to stage here rather than using my up special, because up special will be able to save me even if I don't make it back to stage with the air dodge, and I figured he was going to Falcon dive. But yeah, not in a great position on final stock here. Yeah, that's going to be the game there. I couldn't really do much there, except, like, delay my up special, potentially, but then he could have kneed me. So, yeah, that was just in a really bad... Or I was just in a really bad spot. But Isabelle does have a pretty bad matchup against Captain Falcon. The main reason is because Falcon's damage output is pretty high, and Isabelle's is really low. Like, as you can see, I'm hitting him with the back air from here, and it's doing about 2%. 2.4. And then he's going to hit me there, and I'm off stage, and really easy to punish because I didn't Rebel Edge. But yeah, Falcon's also fast enough just to run around Isabelle for free, and like, you can't really set up my down, or I can't really set up my down special. Like, I can do it there in advantage, but I can't really do it in neutral or anything like that, because Falcon's just fast enough to be able to approach. Like, there, if I wouldn't have shielded whenever I did, then I would have taken a lot more damage. But yeah, he can just land Falcon Kick on you for free pretty much if you try to edgeguard him and you're not in a mode where you don't predict his Falcon Kick. Like, I knew that his Falcon Kick was there, I just kind of didn't slide special in fast enough. But as you can see there, I thought he was going to be able to drop out of that one. And then you can also hit up, or not hit up, but you can hit the Lloyd Rocket with a get up attack. But yeah, he managed to hit one of my balloons there instead of me, so that kind of worked out really well. I tried to hit him with side special to make it where he had to rethink his approach to me off stage, and it kind of worked, but not really. I thought he might throw out an attack, and then I was going to use the invincibility of new special to be able to dodge it. Got the trip hit on the neutral air there. I forgot to mention that that does have a small chance to trip. Down air trips a bit more consistently, but it's not that useful on stage. But yeah, as you can see, I'm kind of just at the ledge here, which I shouldn't have gone to the ledge. I knew that either I was going to get 2-frame like that, or something bad was going to happen there, but I kind of just had to stay at the ledge because I was at a high percent, so I don't really want to fight Falcon on stage at a high percent. There we go. So, now I have about a full stock lead, 10% difference, which isn't really that much, it's just like one strong back air, which it's going to be pretty hard to land if I do want to try to land it. But yeah, I should have gone for the forward smash there for sure. I tried to land with a down air there, but it actually just ended up forward airing, so that was weird. And so then I got thrown off, and it made me get down tilted down air. Which is not a true combo or anything, but it's really hard for Isabelle to avoid. Because of the slower airspeed. Like, you do have a decently fast airspeed, but it's not anything too special. It's ranked number 48, so... I tried to move a bit forward with that forward smash before I did the hit, but I didn't move at all. And then I got punished, as you saw there. I'm in a very bad spot here, okay. You have to recover very low against Captain Falcon. Another bad spot there. You want to move pretty far away from the Lloyd Rocket there, like I did. Just in case he tries to approach it with like a Falcon Kick. Because if he approaches with Falcon Kick against the Lloyd Rocket, it will explode, so you do not want that to happen. I don't really understand why that tethered, but okay. It didn't really hurt me too badly, I just thought I was going to be able to grab him with the side special. I didn't expect him to be able to make it back to stage. He barely made it back as well. Gonna do something risky? Yep, it didn't work out. Okay, we're living, but barely. That was like perfect DI. If I would have messed up on that in the slightest, then I would have died. There we go. Okay, so that's going to be the game there. That was a lot closer than I had first anticipated. And my, like, 3 practice matches with Falcon before I did this stream, I won pretty much every one without too much of a problem. First game, I lost barely, and then that game was pretty much down to the wire. So, the thing about Isabelle is her weight. So, she's a very light character. She's not like a Jigglypuff or a Pichu kind of light, but she's light enough to where, like, forward smash is pretty dangerous at 0% because that will knock you into about, like, the 20 to 30%, depending on the character. And then, like, 2 more forward smashes after that would be enough to kill Isabelle, pretty much. So, you have to be really, like, careful on how you play the game. Like, if you're playing aggressively with forward air and back air, then you kind of want to start backing off whenever you're at about 50%, because if you start getting comboed at about 50, then it will either lead you into a kill percent, or it can just end up in you losing a stock, so then you want to play really defensively. But I kind of tried to play a bit too aggressively, I think, so, well, rather than passively. Because with Captain Falcon, if you play defensively against him, then his aggression is, or like his speed is just so fast that he's able to play aggressive against, or play like really aggressive against your defense, so it just works out a lot better for him than it does for Isabelle. But yeah, that's going to be it for this guide, so now I'm going to do taunts. Let me move Captain Falcon out of the way. So, or let me just set it to regular zoom rather than full zoom. Oh, we got up taunt, side taunt, and down taunt. And that's going to be it. I won't be able to stream Mario Maker now, but I should be able to stream it later. I did make another level. I made the Airman Siege from Mega Man 2, so I will be showing that whenever I get back from when I need to, but I'm leaving, let's see, what time is it? In about an hour, actually, so kind of need to get a bit ready for that, and then after I come back from that, I'll stream Mario Maker. If I don't have enough time to stream Mario Maker, then I will be streaming it tomorrow, but I just kind of wanted to get this out for today. Tomorrow's character is going to be Incineroar, then we have Piranha Plant, Joker, and the Mii's, and that will be final one. I might do a random guide as well. The thing about the random guide is can be kind of difficult to do, but I think I kind of have a bit of a plan for it, as I am partially a random main. Like, I pretty much main random Pikachu, Lucina, and that's pretty much it. And then after that, like, my secondaries would be Joker, and probably Mario and Dr. Mario, but I kind of brought them back as secondaries, but as I said earlier, like, I don't really have that much of a game plan, or not as I said earlier, but as I said in previous streams, I don't really know who I main. I kind of just play some characters that I like, and there are some characters I do better with than others, but really, I mostly play random against friends, and that's why I play a lot of random in live viewer battles and stuff. Yeah, that's going to be it for now. If I'm back later, then I guess I would see everyone then, and if not, then I guess I would see everyone tomorrow.